A big part of her job at this institute was to travel around the
Alright, why'd
world at
she look
cool
like
conferences on
Animode
the latest
from
developments in her field.
Incredibles?
In July of 2019, she traveled
For
to the
real, though.
scenic Greek island of Crete for one of these conferences, not knowing that this was going to be her last, and that the person responsible for her end
Womp,
would be
womp,
caught
womp,
because of his
womp,
videos
womp.
on YouTube.
I
The incident
guess.
happened on July 2nd, when, after a conference, Suzanne spent time with her peers and played the public piano in the venue's lobby.
Hey, July
before
2nd is
saying
coming
her
up,
goodbyes
actually.
and heading out to her
That's
hotel in
tough.
the afternoon.
Yeah.
Sadly, this was the last time anyone saw Suzanne alive. Her coworkers noticed her absence when she didn't show up for the second conference scheduled for 6 p.m. that evening. It wasn't like her to skip events out of the blue. Something wasn't right. A fact that became increasingly clear when over 24 hours
she looks like
passed
Edna
without
Mode,
anyone
bro.
hearing from her. So on July 3rd, her colleagues called the police to check on her, hoping she was simply sick or something similar. However, when officers arrived at her hotel room, no one answered the door. They acquired a spare key from the hotel management and went inside, only to find the room completely empty and undisturbed. All of Suzanne's belongings were also still in the room. The only things missing were her running shoes and a set of exercise clothes. Those who knew her immediately understood what this meant. You see, in addition to her academic prowess and piano expertise, Suzanne was also an athlete at heart. She was a double
Isn't
black
she too
belt in
old for that?
Taekwondo, and despite her
Yeah, hold up. She actually looks pretty old. Hold up.
age, loved going on a run every day. Knowing this helped investigators narrow down what might have happened to her.
Oh, all she did was run, so...
Okay, I thought her hips are gonna break or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like...
Put simply,
I
she
guess.
likely went on a run soon after returning to her hotel on July 2nd, and something went wrong after that. She wasn't super familiar with the area, and to make matters worse, the weather was uncomfortably hot that afternoon. There was a strong possibility she collapsed from the heat or something else along those lines. After putting this together,
Yeah, if it's like 96 and above, and you're over the age of like, let's just say 45, you should not be going out on a run.
Yeah.
the Crete police immediately dispatched a
Like,
search and rescue team in the area surrounding her hotel and around popular running trails. Her family even traveled to Crete and put a €50,000 reward for anyone who could help find Suzanne.
Jesus.
Unfortunately, Suzanne was nowhere to be found. That is until 5 days later, on July 8th, when two young men were exploring one of the abandoned World War II Nazi bunkers scattered across Crete. Around 200 meters in, one of them noticed a piece of burlap covering something on the ground. They picked it up from one end to see what was underneath, and what they found was the aftermath of one of the most horrific crimes in Crete's recent history. The burlap was covering the bloody remains of Suzanne Eaton. A later autopsy report discovered that Suzanne had several broken ribs, multiple fractures throughout her body, a missing ear, and much, much more. Whatever happened to her certainly was not an accident. The investigators began searching for clues, and fortunately it didn't take long for them to make their first major breakthrough: a set of car tire tracks leading up to the entrance of the bunker. Analyzing these tracks allowed investigators to find the car responsible for transporting Suzanne's remains to that bunker. It belonged to 27-year-old Yanis Paraskakis, a local
that's my favorite basketball player.
sheep farmer. But when questioned, Yanis feigned ignorance and claimed that him driving through that area on that day was nothing more than a coincidence. He went as far as to say that he didn't even know about the existence of that bunker, a lie that would eventually lead to his arrest.
Love Roblox?
Alright, I hate YouTube, bro. Why you gotta give me ads?
You see,
Get that out
Yanis
my
had a dream
face.
to become a successful YouTuber. He started a channel with his own name in 2012 and began posting videos. However, if you go to his channel today, all you'll find are 3 videos of him performing an ancient Chinese martial art and meditation technique called Qigong. That's because a couple days before Suzanne's body was discovered, Yanis deleted every other video on his channel. And once authorities recovered some of these deleted videos, it became clear why. You see, most of these deleted videos involved
I'm back. I was
Yanis
getting
exploring
some.
abandoned
I was getting some
World War
beef
II
jerky.
bunkers, including the one where Suzanne's remains were discovered.
Are you
This
good?
contradiction gave the authorities the go-ahead to formally arrest him on July 15. It also allowed them to investigate him further, and the evidence they discovered
Okay, this guy's stupid. You're
For
telling
real.
me that you're gonna record videos of you going to a bunker, and then you're gonna proceed to kill someone and put them in there.
Bar.
And you're just gonna delete the videos too.
discovered was
They're gonna
overwhelming.
easily be able to
As
find
it turned
that.
out, the land where this bunker was located was owned by Giannis's family. Investigators also found traces of Suzanne's blood in his car's trunk. When confronted with this evidence, Giannis cracked and told the whole story. According to him, he saw Suzanne running down the road and something came over him. He hit her with his car twice before putting her in his car, driving to the bunker, and ending her life there. He later changed his story to where he was compelled to commit this crime by a demon.
Okay, that's just like absurd. You're gonna run over someone twice and not even kill them on the spot. You're gonna
About
let 'em
right.
sit in the back of your car and just rot there. And then
Just
you
get
let 'em out.
tortured.
Yeah, it's and she probably had those broken ribs from the car. So
Mhm.
like
And she's
that's
old, so her
just
bones are weak.
yeah, so that just makes it even worse, man.
Unfortunately for him, the jury didn't buy this one bit and sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole in 2020.
25
Now,
years,
this should have been
bro.
the end of Giannis's story, but from what I've seen,
That's why people
there
just don't
was
make
actually
decisions. Just
just
don't
this
make
one
decisions,
crime
bro.
he was convicted of.
You ruin your
The
life.
thing is, Giannis presented
Yeah,
his vile
stupid,
act as a
bro.
crime of opportunity, something he did completely out of nowhere. However, there's evidence to suggest that Giannis might be a full-blown serial killer. For instance, he was apparently detained by the police twice before, once for arson and once for animal cruelty, both of
Arson?
which are well-known early behaviors
What's
of
that?
serial killers. After
You don't know what arson is?
No.
It's practically where you just light a bunch of stuff on fire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
his arrest, several other women also came forward, testifying that he had tried to run them over with his car as well in the past. So, Suzanne was more than likely not his first victim. However, the most solid evidence against Giannis is in one of the deleted videos he uploaded to YouTube. In it, we can see him showing some very human-looking bones scattered throughout the same bunker Suzanne was discovered in. These bones were never discovered by the authorities, suggesting they might have been removed by Giannis to hide evidence. But what makes this truly disturbing is what his friend says at one point in the same video. This roughly translates into, "Is this where you left that old guy?" insinuating that Giannis had disposed of one of his previous victims in the same bunker before. And if that is the case, one can only wonder how many other people Giannis has killed.
I just have one question for this guy. Why old people?
Why do you eliminate people for no reason?
Eliminate people? Yeah, it makes no sense. People just don't think.
Killed over the
Yeah.
years. Simply Manic 6075 was a YouTube channel owned and operated by 24-year-old Samantha Wolford. She lived in the small community of Monticello, Texas with her husband Ernest Lee Ibarra, aka Ernie, and their 5 children. She usually made videos about her day-to-day life and other random topics. Her story began in 2008 when she was at the lowest point of her life. She'd recently become the single mother of a pair of twins and had no love interest in her life. That's when she met
I
Ernie, a
guarantee
local
you she
tattoo
killed those
shop,
kids.
and the two
Probably killed the
hit it
entire
off right from the
family.
get-go, eventually getting in a relationship and starting a family.
If not,
together.
they ran off
In one
and
of her
killed the
videos,
kids.
Samantha described the day she
Yep.
met Ernie as the happiest day of her life. Together, they were blessed with 3 more children, including 1 more pair of twins. Raising 5 kids was a challenge, but Ernie made it work by taking a second job in pizza delivery. So, while they had endured tough times together, Samantha, Ernie, and their 5 children appeared to be the perfect loving family. However, while being a stay-at-home mother was all she could do at the time, Samantha still had a dream
Yeah,
of
she
becoming a
100%
famous
killed the
actress
kids.
one day.
I've always wanted to be an actress. I think it is so much fun. I've been extras in movies. I've had small parts in like short films. It is so much fun and it is so beautiful. It is one of the most amazing forms of art ever to be able to express yourself that way. I think it's amazing.
So, in October 2010, she created her YouTube channel and started posting videos, hoping to become a popular YouTuber and fulfill her dream on the internet instead. And things were going surprisingly okay in the beginning. Samantha would post new videos whenever she had something new to say. And while most of her videos struggled to get past 100 views at the time, the few viewers she had were enough to keep her going. But as time passed on, her passion for making videos turned into an obsession. She started spending more of her time on making videos than her family, putting even more pressure on an already stressed out Ernie. Around 2014, she also started accusing Ernie of hurting her in her videos, hinting at just how bad their relationship was going. But then, after posting a seemingly random video in March of 2014, Samantha mysteriously vanished from the internet. Maybe she lost interest in YouTube or just wanted to focus on her family again. No one knew exactly why she quit so abruptly. Then, on the 20th of February 2015, viewers finally received the update they were waiting for. Unfortunately, it was far more tragic than anyone could have imagined. It started with the Texas police receiving a call from one of Samantha's aunts asking them to save her niece's life.
Titus County 911, what's your emergency? I have a home invasion. My niece is tied up. I am at the verge of untying my niece at this particular moment.
Okay, she's tied up.
She is tied up and gagged.
And gagged? Is that what you
Oh
mean?
my
Is there anybody
God.
else there?
Where are the
Yo,
kids? We have 5 small infants asleep.
Apparently, 3 masked men broke into their home in the middle of the night and attacked the couple while they were asleep. The intruders then tied Samantha in her bedroom and, after hitting him with a gun a few times, kidnapped Ernie. Samantha somehow managed to get her ties loose enough to call her aunt,
Guarantee you
and
with her.
contacted the police after arriving at Samantha's home herself. By the time officers arrived, Samantha's aunt had
okay. Perfect idea. Hold up. Why did I say perfect idea?
I
I
guarantee
know
you
what
with
happened.
her.
She
Tied herself up.
kidnapped him, took him somewhere, killed him, came back to the house, and tied herself up, or got someone to tie her up, and then
set her
run,
free from
Yeah.
restraint.
and
Yep.
then call
The
them.
kids were fortunately safe.
Exactly.
However, what made this whole situation strange was that the intruders didn't take anything else from their home besides Ernie. And from the people who knew him
Yeah.
personally, Ernie wasn't
Yeah,
the
it
type of
happened.
guy to make enemies with dangerous people. Put simply, investigators sensed something fishy with the whole situation. But all that paled in comparison to the main objective, which was to save Ernie as soon as possible. Unfortunately, Samantha didn't know anything that could give investigators their first clue. With no other
Yeah,
option, the officers
it was
took
100%
Samantha to the
her.
station for further questioning, hoping to extract any useful information they could from her. But what none of them expected was that Samantha would change up her story completely after entering the interrogation room. Where before she didn't know anything about the assailants, now she had the name of a potential suspect, John Rebel. As Samantha's story goes, she was talking to her friend about Ernie's supposed attacks on Samantha, when suddenly a man with the pseudonym John Rebel overheard their conversation and started talking about how a man shouldn't treat a woman that way and that he was going to handle the situation. Well, as it turned out, the name John Rebel actually belonged to someone, a man named Jonathan Sanford. The police found and arrested John not long after Samantha gave out his name, right alongside his 2 accomplices, Jose Ponce and Octavius Rhymes. Surprisingly, Jonathan put up little to no resistance and immediately confessed to kidnapping Ernie. He also confirmed the worst possible outcome, that by the time the police got involved, Ernie was already dead. The 3 took him to a secluded forest and executed him with 1 shot to the back of his head. However, even after learning all this, one question remained. Why? Why would 3 men who didn't even know Ernie kidnap him from his home like that? Every answer to this question pointed.
And why'd they do nothing to her, nothing to the kids, nothing to
She probably
any
put a
of their
bounty on him.
stuff?
Bro,
back to
bro.
Samantha, who kept
She
denying
might
any
have, like,
involvement.
actually
Even if the
paid
investigators
someone to
ignored
do
her
that.
suddenly
I don't
remembering
know.
the
Yeah.
intruder's name, there were several other suspicious aspects to her story. Like, how was she able to untie herself enough to call her aunt? Why didn't any of her neighbors hear the break-in? And why were the kids all sleeping in the same room, when usually they're scattered throughout the house? It wasn't long before investigators uncovered undeniable
Yeah.
evidence of her direct involvement. This
Yeah.
included instruction messages she sent to Octavius when the officers were trying to call Ernie's phone, which he had on him. These read, "Kill his phone, shut that down, ditch phone, move." There was no doubt about it at this point. Samantha was in colluding with her husband's killers. And as the investigation went on, the real story came out as well. Samantha had apparently become addicted to the idea of becoming a famous YouTuber, and her neglect of the kids became a constant source of fighting between the couple. But instead of resolving the issue like a responsible adult, Samantha colluded with her friend's boyfriend to hatch a cartoonishly evil scheme to get rid of Ernie. They first wanted to plant hard drugs in his car and
Okay, with a friend of his is insane.
All right.
Yeah, dude.
get him arrested.
It's low-key
but made the
crazy.
heartless decision
know.
that taking his life would be much easier. There's also a chance that Samantha went with the murder plan because it would have brought her more attention on YouTube. She was eventually sentenced to 149 years in prison for killing her own
Oh
husband,
my
leaving her 5
gosh.
children completely.
Holy dude.
Oh my god, she's cooked for life, bro. She's gonna be
Wait.
dead.
Wait, where'd the
Abortion
5
in the
kids go?
process.
Probably the aunt.
He was eventually sentenced to 149 years in prison for killing her own husband, leaving her 5 children completely orphaned in the process.
Oh, orphanage. So that's so sad.
On PC. Do you ever wonder
Like,
if someone had a clip with you in it?
Download Metal, then go to albums.
Hold up.
feature in.
it's like, why even do that? You have kids.
You have kids, a perfect
Diana
husband,
Lovejoy was
and
a
you just ruin
successful
everything to
technical
kill your
writer
husband.
living in the town
Because,
of Carlsbad, California.
Because you're neglecting your own kids. Yeah, bro.
yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
With her husband Greg Mulvihill. However, while her corporate job paid the bills, Diana's true passion was becoming a triathlon athlete and documenting her journey on video, resulting in her eventually starting her own fitness blog called Lovejoy Fitness and a YouTube channel by the name of Heavy DJ. She started this channel all the way back in 2008 and
Cute seals, bro. I want one so bad.
I'll eat one.
You say you'd eat one? Yeah, dude.
Yes.
Let's just get back to the video.
over the years used it to document various parts of her life. From meeting her parents after a long time to going scuba diving with her husband. At one point, she even tried to become a cooking show host of sorts.
That looks like a whole lot, dude. Oh, nah.
It does.
Dude.
That's a dude.
I'm a cooking show host of sorts.
They kind of got the build of a dude, too.
Unfortunately, her channel never really took off, forcing her to eventually cut her losses and move on with her life in March of 2012. Or at least that's what it looked like.
Yeah, I
from the
wasn't even
outside.
born yet,
In
dude.
reality,
Duh.
Diana's reason for abandoning her
I was
YouTube
born.
channel was kind of wholesome. You see, Diana
Yeah,
and
sure,
Greg
you're
had been
old.
trying for a baby for years by
I'm
this point.
15.
Tragically,
Yeah, I
Diana
know.
had suffered
You're
8
old.
different miscarriages and was quickly losing hope.
Oh.
But then
I'm not that old.
Oh my god, did you not hear what that just said?
What?
you see, Diana and Greg had been trying for a baby for years by this point. Tragically, Diana had suffered 8 different miscarriages and was quickly
Oh my god, bro. 8 kids, bro.
8 miscarriages.
Holy crap.
That is just sad, bro.
losing
They had to
hope.
do it on purpose.
But then in September of 2012, the
No.
two were blessed with a perfectly healthy baby boy, marking an end to their struggle. However, what should have been a moment of celebration started a downward spiral of lies and betrayals, eventually culminating in an assassination attempt. Things started going downhill when just a few months
Joe.
after the birth of their son, Greg lost his
Bro.
job, leaving Diana as the sole breadwinner.
I hate when people
The
have
stress of
perfect
the previous
lives and they
miscarriages
ruin
combined
it
with the
trying to
crushing
kill somebody.
But to be fair, you don't know what was going on through their head in this moment in time, so you have no clue what it feels like. It might not have been a perfect family. Stuff could have been happening. Nobody knows. Unless
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're
other
right.
than the 2 people.
weight of having
Yeah.
to support a family in an extremely expensive city all on her own spelled disaster for their marriage. It wasn't long before the two were constantly fighting with each other. Things escalated even further on July 9, 2014, when
Why does this guy kind of look like a dinosaur? No hate. Rest in peace. If he died, but like he
Greg
looks like a
returned home
dinosaur.
only to see a police officer
Bruh.
waiting for him at the door. The officer explained that Greg wasn't allowed to enter his own home because, as it turned out, Diane had accused him of attacking both her and their son. What followed was a nearly
Bruh.
2-year-long divorce mediation, during which the investigators found no
2
evidence
years
supporting
long.
Diana's accusations, allowing Greg to get a 50-50 custody of their son. Diana was also ordered to
Why do you
pay
kinda remind me of Hulk?
$120,000 as a part of their divorce of their son.
Yo,
Diana
he
was
kinda
also
does
ordered
look
to
like
pay
him.
$120,000 as a part of their divorce settlement in late 2015. But before the divorce could be finalized, Greg received a phone call from an anonymous number that changed everything. The voice on the other end claimed to be a private investigator Diana had hired recently. And according to this investigator, he already had solid proof of the attack claims Diana had made against Greg. But for some unknown reason, he wanted to help Greg win the case, so he claimed to have left the documents taped to a power pole
It's like
located on a
Levi's dad, I'm
small
not gonna
hiking
lie.
trail near Greg's home. Greg naturally found this whole thing pretty suspicious and decided to take one of his friends with him to the pole on the night of September 4th, 2016. Sadly, despite his suspicions, he failed to grasp the true intentions of the strangely helpful private detective.
Hello, this is 911.
Yeah. My friend has just been shot.
Do you know who shot him?
There's a guy lying down like a sniper.
A sniper? Did you see him at all?
Briefly, we saw the gun, and he shot at us like 6 or 7 times.
When Greg reached the pole, a sniper opened fire
Deegan,
on
don't
him,
say it.
shooting him clean through the chest. Fortunately, the bullet missed his heart by mere inches, giving him a second
303?
chance at life. By the time the police arrived, the shooter had
What were we gonna think I was gonna say?
Saw the gun.
Oh.
Shot at
Yeah. Oh.
a second
Yeah,
chance at
yeah,
life.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were gonna
Police
say
arrived, the
something
shooter had
about.
already fled the crime scene. But a quick survey of the area allowed the investigators to
We got
recover a pair
303.
of towels the shooter left behind. Running a DNA test
Oh,
on these
W Mans,
towels led
W
to a man
Mans.
named Weldon McDavid, Diana's shooting instructor. Weldon tried to deny any involvement at first, but the evidence against him was overwhelming. As
I said W Mans to the guy in my chat. That sounds terrible whenever I say W Mans for acting in this video. Ugh.
Yeah.
after a thorough search, investigators were able to find another set of the same towels at Diana's place as well. They had also received CCTV footage of Diana buying the burner phone Weldon later used to lure Greg into the secluded area. Most importantly, investigators also found the gun Weldon used on Greg, hidden in the rafters of his garage. By this point, it was clear that Diana was the one who wanted to get rid of Greg, likely to be
Man, bro.
the divorce settlement and keep full custody of her son. Diana and Weldon were arrested for the attempted assassination on Greg Mulder.
Kind of reminds me of a witch. What's wrong with his afro?
Why is one side like half the size of that one? What?
What, bro? Woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
I swear. And she just looks insane, dude.
Tried for their crimes in November
She looks like she'd be one of those
Mulder
crazy
was found
wives.
guilty, with Diana sentenced
I
to
swear.
26 years to life and Weldon to a harsher
26
15
years to life.
The only
26
silver lining in this
25
entire
years
case
his
was that
life.
Greg
What is it
was
talking
able to make
about?
full recovery and is now living with his son. The Gunnar Runar 87 channel on YouTube seems oddly wholesome.
The Gunnar
At first
Runar.
glance.
I
It's
was not
owned by an
expecting
Icelandic
that.
boy named Gunnar
neither,
Runar
boo.
Sigthorsson and contains a single 3.5-minute video of him confessing his feelings to the girl he loves. The title translates to English as My Confession to Hildur. In it, he says things like,
Hún án efa sérstakasta manneskja sem ég nokkuð tímann hitt.
This guy's British.
Ótrúlega
No, he's not.
bara að vera nálægt henni. Það þarf ekki meira.
Okay, this kind of sounds like German. I don't know.
Og þetta ætlað þér. Því að ég held sig orðin ástfangin með þér.
Oh, I thought he was actually talking, but it sounded like it was
So why haven't you
British.
switched from old cable internet?
Long uploads teach me patience?
However, this seemingly heartfelt love letter turned out to be the key to solving one of the most horrific crimes in recent Icelandic history. And it all led back to Gunnar and the troubled life he had as a child. You see, Gunnar didn't have a mother growing up, resulting in him getting extremely close with his father.
That guy looks demonic.
However,
Yes.
on the night of September 20th, 1996, when Gunnar was just 9 years old, his father decided to end it all using a gun. What made this already messed up
God.
situation even worse was the fact that Gunnar was in the room with his father and witnessed everything. Unsurprisingly,
Oh my god.
That's gotta mess you up, bro.
Yes, bro. You have a trauma.
Traumatized for life.
Bad trauma. You look up and see your dad blowing his brains out, bro.
Yeah, me personally, I could not live with that in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
this took a heavy toll on Gunnar's mental health. He withdrew
Yeah.
from the world and refused to accept his father's death as reality. Everything seemed hopeless for Gunnar. That is until primary school, when he met a girl named Hildur and instantly became infatuated with her. He'd admired her throughout
Peter
school
Griffin.
and into adulthood, but never found the courage to make a move,
Yo,
fearing he'd
shut
lose his only
up,
close
dude.
friend. However, things changed.
Why is her eyes like that? Why do they both have a red tint to them? That one's got a little
Maybe
bit of red tint.
contacts?
That one's just got a...
Maybe contacts?
Eh.
In 2009, when Hilder got engaged to a man named
Oh, what the flip?
Hannes, this gave Gunnar the push to do something about his feelings. But given his shy personality, he still couldn't confront Hilder directly. So, in March of 2009, he created a YouTube channel and uploaded his confession on there.
Gunnar
Hilder never
Runar.
reciprocated his feelings, but the two remained friends. Even Hannes, Hilder's now husband, didn't seem to mind Gunnar's company, something he likely regretted deeply just a year later. It all went down on the 14th of August 2010.
Jeez.
Hilder was invited to a party that Gunnar was attending as well. But things got a bit out of hand, and Hilder ended up drinking too much and passing out. Given their closeness, the task of getting her home safely was handed to Gunnar. But instead of dropping her off at Hannes' house like he should have, Gunnar took her to his own home. By the time Hilder woke up, it was already morning. She was understandably furious with Gunnar and immediately called one of her friends to drive her home. But nothing could have prepared Hilder for the horrific scene she witnessed on the other side of her front door. Her husband Hannes was lying on the top of the staircase near their bedroom, submerged in a pool of his own blood. She ran outside and called the authorities. Sadly, it was already too late. Hannes had received over 20 stab wounds on his body, from his arms and legs to the back of his neck. Let go due to lack of evidence.
Why does bro Loki got aura?
Not all hope was lost, and was eventually to Hilder and
I want to see that walk.
Gunnar denied knowing anything about it.
Why does he have a leather jacket
due to
on?
lack of evidence. Fortunately,
doesn't even look
not
like
all
real
hope was
leather, dude.
lost, because not long after that, investigators found a bloody shoe print next to Hannes' bed. Looking deeper into this print revealed that it belonged to a pair of limited edition Adidas shoes. At the time, there were only 18 of these specific shoes in all of Iceland, and Gunnar just so happened to own one of these pairs. This was enough evidence to detain him once again. This also gave investigators the authority to do a thorough search of his belongings, resulting in them finding residue of Hannes' blood on his shoes, as well as in his car. Once presented with this evidence, Gunnar confessed to the murder. He also revealed that he'd been planning it for months, and even shoplifted the items he intended to use to avoid purchase records linking back to him. And while he didn't admit to it, Hilder also suspected him of spiking her drink that night, since she usually never passed out like that. After committing the crime, he also drove to a nearby pier and dumped items used in the crime into the sea to get rid of any evidence. It was a well thought out plan, since he was only caught because the garbage bag he used to hide his shoe prints tore open as he walked. As for his motive, it was just as everyone had expected, with him making it clear during the investigation, stating, "I loved her. She was supposed to be with me. She was not supposed to be with him." Surprisingly, he was found not guilty during his first trial on March 1, 2011 by reason of insanity stemming from his messed up childhood.
What?
However, the prosecution argued that he was fully aware of his actions and escalated the case to the Supreme Court of Iceland. Gunnar was found guilty on this second trial and was sentenced to 16 years in prison.
16?
This was already lenient given the brutality.
So you're telling me the woman that ordered a murder on her husband got 150, but you can only give this guy 17 or 16, whatever.
For actually doing the murder?
And not even that. Like, he spiked the girl's drink too, apparently. Well, possibly.
Like, the girl the last girl didn't even kill her husband. She hired somebody to kill her husband. This guy actually killed him in only 10 years.
It's kind of crazy.
Lucky weird.
Yeah.
Of his crime, yet he ended up serving only half of that sentence as well. He was released.
He only served 8 years in prison.
Under supervision in July 2019.